With that, I'm gonna kick it over to Vince Burkle with Indiana DNR. Just so everyone's aware, I'm gonna have Vince go into the break. So just make a note that that break is probably going to be shortened. We'll give Vince all the time he needs to complete his presentation, and if that break ends up being 5 minutes or 2 minutes, we'll get back on track afterwards. So, with that, Vince, if you're ready, I'll kick it over to you for Indiana's perspective.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Can you guys see my screen at all?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, awesome. All right, thanks for having me on here today. I'm Vince Burkle with the Indiana Department of Natural Resources. I'm the assistant director here with the Division of Entomology and Plant Pathology. I also run the surveys that we do here in the state for a lot of the regulated pests of concern, including spotted lanternfly. And I'm just going to give a kind of a quick overview, a little bit of history of how we got it, and then I'm going to go into how what we're doing about it and what we have been doing about it. So our first infestation came into Switzerland County, which is in far southeastern Indiana, in 2021. And so this is an extremely rural county. But funny enough, Switzerland County was also where our first vineyard was. And so being that spotted lanternfly really loves to feed on grapes, that kind of was a big concern for us. There's not a lot of vineyards down there now, but there are a few. But this location where spotted lanternfly came in was a wooded area, about 100-acre woods, very rugged and hilly terrain. And it was reported by a resident there who happened to be out on his porch and saw an insect on a tree of heaven next to his porch while he was sitting there. And like always happens with regulatory reports, I believe, if I recollect correctly, it came in on a Friday afternoon, and so weren't really able to do anything about it until the next week. So when our inspector in that area went out there the following week, he was able to locate spotted lanternfly in the woodlot. The woodlot was very dense, had a lot of overgrown understory of multifloral rose and privet, but also a lot of tree of heaven in it. And the infestation seemed to be pretty well established in that area. Once we did some asking around, we did find out that a resident that had just moved into that location about 3 years prior moved in from Pennsylvania, so likely brought in egg masses and or other life stages on some outdoor materials that he brought with him. From then, our next year, we found it in Huntington, which is on the far north end of the state, clear on the other end. This is about 20 minutes southwest of Fort Wayne, and this was reported initially by a business owner there in Huntington. And then about the next day, we received some information from someone looking at a Facebook page there, a local neighborhood Facebook page, that somebody had posted a photograph of a quote mutant ladybug. And so that turned out to be a fourth instar nymph. And so we immediately were able to get down there and locate the population there. Now, since then, our infested counties has expanded to 14. Most of those are up in the northeastern part of the state, with a few of them down in the southern portion of the state. And we fully expect for this next coming year that we're going to find quite a bit more, especially up in these northern areas here from DeKalb, Noble, and across to Elkhart. We have a major rail line coming from the East Coast, so we're fully expecting it probably to find it here in LaPorte County and Lake County, as well as coming down out of Allen County. We have another rail line that comes down and heads over to Cincinnati. And then from Allen County as well, we have one that cuts down through Tippecanoe County and Lafayette and Fountain County on into Illinois. So we expect that we're going to be finding something along some of these major rail lines, that are going to continue to spread this insect. So moving on to our surveys and management and what we're doing about it. So we don't really have any dedicated SLF staff here in the state. We have 12 nursery inspectors that work on the project. We also have 5 intermittent staff that we hire in the early spring that work on a lot of our surveys. And so they're the ones that are out there on the ground looking around and searching for spotted lanternfly and managing our traps. But we do do some treatments. We do a lot of trapping and survey work, and we do some outreach throughout the state to try to spread the word. So one of the things that we really enjoy doing is egg mass scraping. It seems to become it's almost like a sport for us where we all kind of get together and see who can find the most. This year it's been a little bit slow getting going just because we've had some inclement weather that's kind of inhibited our abilities to be able to get out with a lot of snow and ice and really cold temperatures. But over the last couple of years, we have been pretty successful at finding quite a number of egg masses and helping to reduce our populations, especially in the northern part of the state, where we have most of our populations are in urban areas. So we're going to continue to do that as we move here throughout the spring between now and egg hatch to see how many we can knock out for this year. As far as treatments go, this year we are planning basal bark treatments with dinotefuran in about 12 different counties. Most of those are in the northern part of the state. Those treatments will both be contracted and in-house, depending on where the locations are at. And we're also going to use Survey 123 to collect the data, as well as this year we're looking at using Survey 123 to collect our landowner permissions, and then using Power Automate to be able to generate and email the forms to a centralized location so that they can then be distributed around and to the various inspectors. Over the last several years, we've also done some bifenthrin and some dinotefuran treatments in Huntington and Switzerland County. We did about 25,000 linear feet of bifenthrin treatments in Switzerland County last year, and about 6,000 linear feet in Huntington, as well as roughly around about 7,700 inches of dinotefuran treatments on Tree of Heaven in both those locations to reduce population. For trapping, last year we ended up putting out about 60 or so circle traps throughout the state. Again, mostly along some of those high-risk pathways like railroads and trucking facilities and things like that, where the risk of spread is high. We're also going to, we also did a lot of delimit survey work around some of our current infestations to see how the populations were moving. And we'll do a lot of that again this year. As a matter of fact, last year, our circle traps in DeKalb and Noble counties were the ones that made the initial detection along the rail line. Just so happened we put the traps right where they were at, and we collected the first instar nymphs in late May. So that was a pretty good guess on where to put those traps for last year. We're also doing visual surveys throughout the state. We do pathway surveys at high-risk locations like landscape supply companies and truck stops and gas stations. Usually those occur in the fall when the adults are more likely to kind of move and hitch rides on things. We also are doing visual surveys at vineyards throughout the state. We're coupling that with some other PPA surveys, specialty crop surveys that we're doing there. So while we're there, we're walking the vineyard looking for life stages and or signs of spotted lanternfly. We're also doing Tree of Heaven surveys throughout the state. We've been doing that for the last several years, just to kind of find out where those populations are at, so that if spotted lanternfly were to pop up in that area, we already have documentation of where their food source might be in those areas. And one other thing that's been really popular, especially with the public, is our canine survey. So Callie Bontrager, our inspector in Northwest Indiana, raises Australian Shepherds, and she has 3 of them. And here, this first picture here is of Q. He's a 12-year-old, but he is being retired. He's paid his dues and is ready to kind of relax for a little bit. But we also have Epic. He's 7.5. And so he's taken the lead now on searching out for life stages and egg masses. And the training is going very, very well. This particular picture here, if you can kind of see, there's some egg masses right here underneath this big cottonwood tree. We were trying to get Epic when we were in Huntington one day to come over and see if he could find some egg masses on another tree that we had seen them on, and he would not leave this tree. And so when we walked over there and we saw those egg masses, we realized that, he was pointing on those and wanting to let us know that they were there. And we also have River, who's the newbie. He's only 20 months old, so he's still generally a puppy. And once he gets out there, he is a little bit excited, but once we get him out there and start training him and he gets settled down, he's doing a pretty good job. And this is just pictures of him looking for the egg mass that has been sent that has been soaked into the get sent tubes in boxes. So um, he's learning, and but he's starting to get the hang of things, and we'll soon be having him out in the field. For spotted lanternfly outreach, we do a lot of that. We still got billboards going out. We still have Facebook posts that go out during Invasive Species Week and then throughout the year to help the public recognize the different life stages of spotted lanternfly. We're working with Purdue University on various handouts. We're also working with Purdue currently on a homeowner spotted lanternfly management guide, so that when spotted lanternfly might pop up at a homeowner's house, they have the ability to choose different options of how they want to deal with it. We're also attending a lot of trade shows. We go to a lot of junior achievement events and home and garden shows, and our local Green Expo for our Nursery and Landscape Association, just to kind of get the word out. And we also just present to a lot of various groups, whether it's local garden clubs or other extension events that might be in different counties, just spreading the word on spotted lanternfly. Last year, we also had developed a spotted lanternfly reporting tool. That way, the public can then go to our website and log an incident of whether they've seen spotted lanternfly. And they're required to upload a picture to this, so that way, if they can't just send in a report without a picture. We have to go through these and make sure that people don't just pull something off the internet, because that does happen quite a bit. And we do reach out and contact these people, once they've made a submission, just to confirm whether they have spotted lanternfly. If it is a new report, then we will collect a sample. That sample will then get sent into USDA for identification. And then once that confirmation comes back, it goes on to our live public-facing map. And so this is, again, on our website that the public here in the state can view where spotted lanternfly is in the state of Indiana. And so I kind of went through that kind of quick because I know we were kind of coming up on a break, but I appreciate the time you've given me today. And if you guys have any questions, be glad to answer them for you.
Thank you, Vince. Appreciate it. Yeah, you had a handful of questions come in real quickly toward the end there in the
Okay.
Q&A section. So if you can get to those when you get a chance, we'll appreciate it.